Howdy, gang. Kevin here. Tonight, we're doing a Sweet Jane Mini. Cigarilla, actually. I can get a hold of this band. I'll be all right. All right, what's close here? Some roasted crow is close. You smell that? This is Romulus. She's hanging out with me in the man cave right now. I don't think you'd like this. Maybe, but I doubt it. Tonight, let's talk about how terrified we have become of words. Now, it's ridiculous. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's ridiculous. Because if I go out of my way to substitute one word for another word that we have decided that's offensive or a problem in some way, then isn't the new word I came up with just as offensive since I'm using it to mean the exact same word as the same meaning as the offensive word? I don't understand how that works. You know, for example, I can't say any version of someone not being on the green side of the grass anymore, but I can say unalive or unalived or something along those lines. But I can't say any of the other words, whether it's self-caused or somebody else caused or accidental caused or natural caused. I can't say any of those words, but I can say unalived. I can't say the word for the adult film industry, but I can say corn when I'm referring to that. I was reading online about there's no official list, by the way, for social media. That's why they keep it vague, and they can change it every day or however the wind's blowing or whatever it is. But I was looking on, I don't know, I got there through Reddit, but it wasn't on Reddit. But it was a list of terms and phrases that you can't really say on social media because it'll get you demonetized or banned or get your account terminated or a whole bunch of other stuff. But it was like 25 pages of stuff that you're not supposed to talk about directly on social media. What have we become? Now, I can't say anything because, you know, all the social media platforms, they don't directly have anything to do with the government. They're not government sponsored officially or any of those things. So basically the Constitution doesn't really apply to them, you know, like freedom of speech and so on and so forth. But things that should apply to them are things like censorship and those kind of things. Their official policies of all the social media things are, this being an election year, they've got a lot of election policies. There's something out there called States United Center for Democracy or some damn thing like that. They pretend to be an official entity. They're not. But they've got a whole multi-page website set up of things that social media shouldn't be, that they can't put on there because it's misinformation or disinformation during an election year, because you could be influencing an election. Well, by not saying all those words that apply, are we not influencing things that way? I mean, just think about it. What happens if we ban a certain party's name from being said on the internet? Because it could be divisive, or it could be a problem in some way, shape, or form. So, I don't know. Censorship used to be a bad thing. Apparently, it's how we're going to play the game now, because all social media has decided that they're in charge of the narrative, and basically, it goes way back. But I think we've become a big programming experiment to see just how well we can be programmed to be swayed in the wind. I think the events of the last few years have told us that. But this is not really about that. But then again, maybe it is, because like I said, we can't just ban certain words because number one, we don't want that side of the narrative talked about, and if we find a word offensive, we can't use that word anymore. We can just call it something else. And apparently, the new word's not offensive. I don't know how this works. Eventually, they're not going to be able to say anything at all, because every word that we've made up to cover up the offensive words is also going to be banned when they become offensive. I guess the only way we're going to be able to communicate from here on out is to walk around and not look at each other, or everyone you pass, you're required to hand them a flower or something. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do it to keep from offending anyone. But even that won't work. I often say that the only way to avoid any interpersonal conflict is there can only be one person left on the planet. Anywhere. Spilled some whiskey. I've done that twice in a row now. Anyway, I don't know where we're going. I really don't know where we're going with all this stuff. Y'all have looked that up. They've got different PDFs out there of different social platforms, and it tells you all the words and concepts and things that you're not allowed to talk about. So, with all that being said, I don't know. Makes me sad. I don't know. It's the world changes every day, and the only constant is change. I understand all of those things, but what a lot of folks don't understand, change for the sake of change is not necessarily a good thing. So all the changes should reflect some kind of progress or something along those lines, not regress. And if you really think banning offensive words is progress, then you need to go back to the days of when you couldn't say and do certain things because you end up in prison or dead or so on and so forth. We're going back to that. England's finding that out, by the way. Anyway, damn, that's awful. Awful, I tell you. Anyhow, like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Share this video if you want to. Or go back through my library and share any of the other videos you want. I've got a playlist up that's called Everything. Basically, it's all of my public videos in one big playlist, and it's set to play from oldest to newest. So it will basically be chronological order of all the nonsense I've had to say over the years on YouTube. So, with that being said, it'd be a good way to put yourself to sleep. You know, just click the play all on that Everything playlist and then go ahead to bed. Or preferably leave the room, because it's probably not anything you want to hear anyway. But anyhow, I got to keep them 4,000 hours rolling up. Otherwise, they're going to demonetize me. I went back through and looked at a whole bunch of my stuff. The way it works is they give you a little green $ if everything's cool with your video, and they're not slowing down any anything that they do with it. It's got a little yellow $sign. That means it's this ain't suitable for all of our sponsors. So we're gonna have to be careful about whose ads we put on your stuff. And then it's got the red $sign that we will never monetize this. I don't have any of those, but I have had videos taken down. So basically the same thing, isn't it? Anyhow, hope to see y'all in the woods. Class this weekend went great. It was a survival on the water's edge class. They've got a lot of classes on sale right now on Self-Reliance Outfitters website. So if you've been waffling, now I would go through and sign up for a class if you've been on the fence about it. I'll be honest. We do have some openings in some of the classes from here on out on the year. Hang on. I had an alarm going on my screen. Anyhow, let me turn that. That's unprofessional, isn't it? That's okay. We got several classes coming up that you really ought to think about that are really good classes, and now that they're on sale, jump in there and grab them. Because the classes do go on sale from time to time, but not all the time. Navigation Intensive is coming up. If you want to know anything about navigation at school, you really need to jump on that, because it's a great nav, because it's both modern and primitive navigation, leaning more to primitive because we cover most of the modern and other classes. So there's a lot of good stuff in that class. If you've made it through a basic survival class, we got an intermediate survival class coming up, and an advanced if you've made it through intermediate. Technically, you're not supposed to skip those steps, but they're not going to let you not sign up for them. I'll be honest with you, on the website, because they ain't got no way of knowing. But anyhow, you will be hurting if you come to an advanced class without taking an intermediate or a basic. You will be hurting, guaranteed. I don't care how tough you are, just so you know. With all that being said, jump on there. Use my link to get to the Self-Reliance Outfitters website. It's down there in the description box. It says Kevin Baxter suggested gear or something along those lines. That'll take you to my suggested gear page, and then you can along the top there's tabs for training and all that kind of stuff. Or if you're on a mobile device, there's a little 3-bar thing where you pull down for search and you search on training, and it's got a tab too under that bar. But anyhow, hope to see y'all in the woods. Have a good one. Hope to see you at class.